Hendrick Motorsports builds the engines. Hendrick Motorsports supplies the pit crews. Hendrick Motorsports shares the data. So, what happens when the team getting all of that help finally passes the team giving it? That is not a hypothetical anymore. It happened after Indianapolis, and Carson Hocevar just put words to it in front of a room full of reporters. Here is the setup. In the NASCAR garage, the haulers do not park in a random order. They park by points. The best team in the standings gets the best spot. Everybody behind them lines up in order. It is a small thing. It is also a scoreboard that sits in plain sight all weekend long. Drivers see it, crew chiefs see it, owners absolutely see it. After the race at Indianapolis, Spire Motorsports moved up in that line, and the team they moved past was Hendrick Motorsports, the same Hendrick Motorsports that gives Spire its engines. The same Hendrick Motorsports that helps Spire with pit crews and technical support. The little team just parked ahead of the big team it leans on. Carson Hocevar did not pretend it was nothing. "It is great for us," Hocevar said. "I think we have all noticed it and taken pride in it." Read that one more time. Taken pride in it. Not humbled by it. Not embarrassed by it. Proud of it. That is a small team saying the quiet part into a microphone. Now let us talk about how Spire got there, because this is not luck. Hocevar rolled into Iowa Speedway sitting 5th in the Cup Series standings. 5th. He is 23 years old. He drives the number 77 Chevrolet for a team that used to be a punchline. Spire spent years buying charters, hiring people, spending real money, and building a real race shop. For a long time, most fans laughed at all of it. Nobody in the garage is laughing now. And for the first time in his short career, Hocevar is not shutting the door on the biggest word in the sport. He is not calling himself the championship favorite. He is smarter than that. But he is saying the possibility exists, and he has a very specific reason why. "I think it is an advantage for us that all the chase races this year are good tracks for us," Hocevar said Friday. "We are just going to try and click off as many good races as we can and see where it shakes out." Look at what he is really saying there. The playoff schedule lines up with the places where the number 77 car runs well. That is not a small detail. That is the difference between showing up and actually being a problem for the big three organizations. Then he went a step further. He talked about how title contenders lose championships. "Sometimes they take themselves out of it by just trying to get a little bit more," Hocevar said. "You want to be next in line if it somehow gets given to you or they have trouble in front of us." That is a driver telling Joe Gibbs Racing, Team Penske, and Hendrick Motorsports that he is standing right behind them, waiting, not hoping, waiting. Those three organizations are still the favorites. Everyone knows that. But favorites push too hard. Favorites take a swing at a corner they should have settled for. Hocevar is planning to be the guy who is already there when it happens. Now, before anyone paints this as a war between Spire and Hendrick, Hocevar shut that idea down himself. He does not see the alliance as a rivalry. He sees it as one big group. Mr. H likes to see 7 cars, rather than just 4, have a shot, Hocevar said, talking about Hendrick owner Rick Hendrick. They look at it like a 7-car deal because of the close alliance. 7 cars, 4 from Hendrick, 3 from Spire. One shared pile of engines, people, and information. On paper, that is a partnership. On the racetrack, all 7 of those cars are still racing each other for the same trophy. But here is the honest question every fan is asking right now. If you are Hendrick Motorsports, and the team you supply with engines just passed you in the standings, how does that feel on a Monday morning? Rick Hendrick can say all the right things in public. He can smile about 7 cars instead of 4. Still, that hauler line does not lie, and everybody who walks through that garage sees it. Hocevar clearly sees it too. He just chose to be polite about it. So how did Spire actually make the jump? Hocevar pointed at 2 things, and neither one is flashy. The first is qualifying. Last year, Hocevar fought just to get out of the early rounds. This season, his average starting spot has taken a huge step forward. That changes his entire Sunday. "It just makes life a lot easier for you," Hocevar said. "When we are up front, have better pit stalls and everything, it just makes life a lot easier when we can have smooth, upfront days. Better qualifying means a better pit stall. A better pit stall means faster stops. Faster stops mean clean air. Clean air means stage points. And that leads to the second thing. Our season has been kind of built on stage points that just kind of add up, he said. That is the whole story of Spire in 2026. No massive winning streak, no dominant weekend after dominant weekend, just points, every stage, every week. Quietly stacking them up until one day the hauler is parked ahead of one of the biggest organizations in the sport, 5 points here, 8 points there. It looks like nothing on a Sunday night. It looks like everything in August. There is still one giant unknown left, though. The regular season ends at Daytona. That is a coin flip. One big wreck can wipe out a driver's whole summer. Playoff points and bonus points can flip the order in a single night. Plenty of drivers hate that. Hocevar does not. I think it is great, Hocevar said. From a fan perspective, I am sure they enjoy it. That is a guy sitting fifth in points saying he is fine with the chaos. That is confidence. He carried that same confidence into Iowa Speedway this weekend. He has run well at the short track before, and he thinks the car is better now than it was then. We ran good here last year, he said. It seems like we have been faster everywhere we have gone lately from year to year. Hocevar also gave his take on the new stage racing changes NASCAR announced. A lot of drivers have been careful with their words on this one. He was not. I think it is an improvement, he said. It will probably allow for crew chiefs to make mistakes, maybe flip the field, or just catch people off guard. Ultimately, just make the race not predictable. He wants the mess. He wants strategy calls that blow up in somebody's face. A team like Spire does not win by doing everything the normal way. It wins when the race gets weird, when the field flips, and when a crew chief with nothing to lose makes a call nobody else is brave enough to make. And he is already looking past this season. In 2027, the Iowa Cup race moves to 4th of July weekend. That gives NASCAR another huge summer date in front of one of the loudest crowds on the schedule. This place already sells out, Hocevar said. Hopefully the 4th of July weekend just adds a little bit of excitement to it. Now step back and look at the full picture. 1 year ago, if you told a Spire Motorsports employee that the team would simply make the playoffs, that would have been the headline of the season. That would have been the goal, the celebration, and the ceiling all at once. Today, Carson Hocevar is standing in front of a microphone at Iowa, sitting 5th in the standings, talking about playoff tracks that suit him, talking about waiting for the big teams to make mistakes, and talking about a championship as a real thing that could actually happen. The haulers moved, the points moved, the whole conversation moved, and the young driver everybody once labeled as reckless is now talking like a man who belongs at the very front of this sport. Hendrick Motorsports built the engines that made all of this possible. Nobody inside that building ever expected those engines to drive right past them in the hauler line.